you're a first time visitor to my channel, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button. It should be on the bottom right corner of your screen. So this is the first video in a new series I'm starting, which is about my maintenance and experience with my new KTM 390 Adventure. So let's get started. So the initial days. Coming from a cast iron 350 Royal Enfield that I rode for almost 12 years, the KTM 390 Adventure was a drastic change. It's almost like going from a Maruti 800 to a Lamborghini or something. The reason is that the gearing is very precise and the bike really does not like it. If you are going too slow in a higher gear, it will make a really nasty sound. So you have to be very precise about what speed you're going in the particular gear. But get it in the right gear, open the throttle, and you will feel all of those 37.5 ponies under your tank really flex their muscles. So if you're coming from a Royal Enfield, I've got news for you. You're going to have to unlearn and relearn your riding techniques. Now, the first thing I'll touch upon is the mileage. So when I rode it out of the showroom, it was showing me about between 23 and 24 kilometers per liter. And as I started riding it more and more, it went up to about between 29 and 30 in mixed riding conditions. So I was riding within the city and I did a small trip to Mahabalipuram as well. So yeah, in the first 1,000 kilometers, I've seen it go up till 30. Due to the corona lockdown, I've really not been able to take it on a very long trip, like say at least 300 or 400 kilometers one way, to be able to test its mileage capabilities. But now that the first service is done, I hope to do that pretty soon. And things also seem to be opening up in different places around the south, so stay tuned. The handling of this bike is just mind-blowing. Yes, it is a bit tall. The seat height is 855 mm and I'm 5'9", a little more maybe. But even on this bike, I'm usually on the ball of my feet. It's not like I'm tiptoeing, and I'm usually wearing shoes, so it's not really a problem for me. Well, coming to the really the handling, this bike just goes over anything you throw at it, be it mud, be it tarmac, be it farmland, it just goes. Ride-by-wire throttle is super responsive, and you just twist the throttle and you have an instant response from the engine, which makes it really easy and convenient when you have to overtake highway traffic or even in the city. Next, the wide positioning of the handlebar. So the first couple of days it felt very big for me, but once you get used to it, it makes guiding and maneuvering this bike so much easier. It's not difficult at all. The bike doesn't feel heavy at all, so don't even worry about that. Now, this being an ADV, an adventure bike, a lot of the riding should be done standing on off-roads, but I find that the ergonomics and riding position on this is the handlebar is a little low for me, so I'm going to get handlebar risers probably from ADV Tribe, and that'll make it easier. Because right now what happens is that once I stand up, I'm not with my helmet on, I'm not able to look straight. I end up looking down, or at least my neck is hunched down, which is not comfortable if you're going to do off-roading. So yeah, that's it about the handling. Alright, let's talk about the engine. So the first week with the bike, I realized that the engine used to heat up a lot and it used to take quite a while for it to cool down. However, this changed dramatically around the 500 kilometer mark. That's when the engine actually became, the heating was more moderate, and it wasn't, the fans weren't turning on and like it's overheating kind of a feeling. all that was gone around the 500-kilometer mark. But man, oh, the sound of the engine, it's just, or the lack of it, is just so smooth, this bike. It was only after about 800 kilometers that I started hearing a slight grunt in the engine when I was accelerating. But otherwise, when you're on it and you're riding, it feels like silence. Now, coming from an Enfield, you might not like the sound of the KTM in the lower revs, but take it around 4000 RPM and above, and that's when the real character of the KTM comes out. You have instantaneous, deliberate acceleration, butter smooth gear shift, and all of this culminates into that pure adrenaline rush. Wait, am I still talking about a bike, right? Some of my other observations about the bike were that the air intake. So, first of all, the air filter is right below the seat. It's not on either of the sides, and the air intake, interestingly, flows below the seat and finishes under the pillion seat. Now, what this does is makes it easier if you're going through water. You have much less of a risk of water entering through your air filter because the air intake is so high up under the rear pillion seat. The other interesting thing is the gear lever has a pivot on it. So if you fall on the left side, the gear lever is simply going to bend inward and come back out. It's spring loaded, which is really cool considering that these guys have put so much of thought into these little details. The next thing is the luggage options for the 390 Adventure. Now, in this department, this bike does lose out a bit vis-a-vis the GS310 and the Himalayan, because they both come with a rear rack which is already provided factory fitted, whereas the KTM does not have that. You have to look for aftermarket options if you're looking to have a tail rack for the KTM 390 Adventure. Next, the KTM app for navigation. Now, I was able to sync it with the bike. I was able to sync my phone with the bike for music and phone calls, but the navigation app, it's not working. However, it doesn't really bother me too much because I've already ordered the ADV Tribe mobile mount, and once that's there, I'm just going to put my phone in front. It'll be just above the display, so I'm not really going to use the KTM sync functionality that much. The other thing that bothers me a little bit is the charger socket. Now, this has already rusted in spite of having a plastic cap on it, and rusting within the first 45 days, I mean, come on KTM, that's a little bit of a eh. So what do I think about it overall? Extremely happy. I would give it a double thumbs up. Now, this bike is not a conventional ADV in the sense that people know it as. It has its small drawbacks. It was tailored for the Indian market. I've also told you a few things on how it compares with a Himalayan or a BMW GS310. But for an entry level, for me, I'm not some hardcore ADV rider, so to start off, I think it was a good purchase and I'm happy I bought it. So also, I could not afford the price tag of say a Triumph Tiger, which I think is a really beautiful bike. So until I can afford it, I'm going to experiment and increase my skills, improve my skills on this one. So stay tuned, as I'll be posting more videos when I put handlebar risers. I'm going to get a luggage rack, pannier stays, the ADV Tribe mobile mounts coming as well. So there's a lot of stuff going to happen on this bike, and I'm really looking forward to more off-road, muddy, dirty rides, and as well as long rides. So stay tuned for more. Until then, dream on, ride on, and helmet always on.